Welcome to our second annual Summons to Memphis event. My name is Ken Neal, and I am the CEO of Contemporary Media. But today I'm wearing my editor of Memphis Magazine hat as host of this event. Memphis Magazine recently celebrated its 38th birthday, and pardon the free plug, the shameless self-promotion, the Memphis Flyer celebrated its 25th anniversary this week. Thank you. Many of you here in the room are familiar with this novel written by Peter Taylor in 1986 entitled A Summons to Memphis. Peter Taylor was born in Trenton, Tennessee, spent a large portion of his early years in Memphis, but at the time of the book's publication in 1986, he had long been a legendary and beloved English professor at UVA. His book was a critical success, so successful that it was awarded the 1987 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, which was awarded as not as just only for Summons to Memphis, but for Taylor's wonderful decades-long legacy of brilliant short stories. Most everyone here is familiar with The Old Forest, and novels about the South, a body of work that established Peter Taylor as one of America's finest mid-20th century authors. The next year, in 1988, in large part to celebrate Peter Taylor's Pulitzer, Memphis Magazine held a dinner in his honor at the Peabody Hotel, organized by our then chairman of the board, the late, great Ward Archer Sr., who was a friend, confidant, and college roommate of Mr. Taylor's. That event, as they say, was a box office success, with Mr. Taylor reading excerpts from his just-honored work. Last year, Ward Archer Jr., Ward Sr.'s son, and president of Contemporary Media Today, spearheaded the creation of this Summons to Memphis event, not only to honor his father, but to create an annual symposium through which the city we all call home would look itself sternly in the mirror by summoning leaders from other places, people who might help enlighten us, might share with us what they've done in their cities and states, and by doing so help us all here discover more about ourselves and the directions in which we might proceed. Many of you here today remember New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu's time with us here last spring. And while Mayor Landrieu touched all the bases, this year's summonee, Mayor Carl Dean of Nashville, is in many ways an even more appropriate honoree. You see, as those of you who have read Summons to Memphis know, the nameless narrator hero of Summons, and the book is certainly autobiographical, is originally from Nashville. The hero is a young man who himself is summoned to Memphis from his happy early adult life in New York City on account of his widowed father's getting, for lack of a better word, wild and crazy with younger women, thereby jeopardizing the inheritances of himself and his siblings. It's the kind of tale that could be written any place, any time in the history of the world, but Peter Taylor sets Summons to Memphis in his native West Tennessee. You'll have to read the book to find out more, but the Peter Taylor lines early in the book that resonate most with me are these. Quote, "When my old mother died 2 years ago, it did not at first occur to me that we could have any difficulty among ourselves." The narrator was referring to his father's situation. "We were not, after all, a genuine Memphis family. We had only lived in Memphis 30 years. That is quintessential Memphis line. I can relate to it. I have only been here 39. But as we all know, as Peter Taylor knew, ours is a unique, one-of-a-kind kind of place. I want to thank my partners, Kate Gooch, Henry Turley, and of course, Ward Archer Jr., for all their efforts in helping to make Summons what is now a Memphis tradition. I want to thank Molly Wilmot and all of our contemporary media staff for working their butts off, herding cats today, and getting us all here this afternoon. And most of all, I want to thank all of our corporate sponsors, without whose support this event would have been absolutely, positively impossible. CB Richard Ellis, Christian Brothers University, Nova Copy, Baptist Memorial Healthcare, First Tennessee, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Belts Enterprises, Looney Rick's Kiss, Music and Arts, and Henry Turley Company. Please join me in thanking our sponsors. And we seem to have a plethora of mayors in the room today. I've already had a long talk with Mayor Sharon Goldsworthy from Germantown. Thank you, Sharon, for being here. And we'll hear from Mayor Mark Luttrell of Shelby County, who is running a little late, but he will be with us in a little while. And of course, we'll hear from the other two mayors in a moment. I'd also like to recognize our Congressman Steve Cohen for the 9th District of Tennessee. I'd now like to call upon Mayor A.C. Wharton of Memphis in a moment to introduce his colleague from Nashville. It's only appropriate that Mayor Wharton would do this introduction, since he himself was summoned to Memphis, several decades ago from his native Lebanon, Tennessee. Mayor Wharton needs no further introduction, so without further ado, Mayor Wharton.
Thank you, Ken, and to all the contemporary media family, thanks so much, and to Molly and the other members of the team, thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. They were just really great to pull this together. We really appreciate this. To my fellow elected officials, certainly to Mayor Dean and his team, welcome to Memphis. We're so proud that you answered the summons. When Ken, I believe it was, came to me a couple of years ago and said, hey, I got this idea, I want to do this, what do you think? And I said, great. And of course, the first speaker was Mayor Landrieu of New Orleans, did a great job there. And then I've forgotten who called this year and said, you think you can get Mayor Dean to come down and talk to us? And I said, I'm sure I can, and it was a very easy sell. And he was glad to come down, so we're so proud that he answered our call. Just as I was coming in, I had to stop and do a Skype interview with the mayor of Enschede, Holland. They're kicking off, as we speak, their blues festival based on the city of Memphis. And they